Hello and welcome. My name is Carsten Lützen. I'm an Agile coach and a Scrum Master. Today I will talk about the confirmation bias. You might already have guessed it. If you like these videos, please subscribe and share. The confirmation bias is a bias that all of us suffers from, to a varying degree at least. But it's a bias that we need to be quite aware of when we are, for instance, trying to help a team, trying to help themselves. And what is a confirmation bias? The confirmation bias is defined on Wikipedia as this, with a reference to Nickerson. Confirmation bias is a tendency to search for, interpret, favor and recall information in a way that confirms or supports one's prior beliefs or values. Meaning, if I have an idea of what is wrong, I will find data point that I can interpret that supports my view instead of trying to disprove it. That is what we often see in hypothesis testing, that we are only constructing experiments to show that our hypothesis is valid. Instead, we should actually try to falsify it. We should try to make experiments that shows that this is not valid, that our hypothesis is wrong. And if we cannot do that, then we can go to the next step and say, maybe there's actually something about this. Another example is also these algorithms on social media where, because they want us to spend as much time on their platform as possible, right? So they will feed us content that is in line with our views. So more of the same, more that you will agree with, more that you think is actually nice. And the problem is that we then don't see the other side of it. When we are facilitating workshops, it's quite nice to make sure that everybody in the room understands what is a confirmation bias. And one of the ways we can do this is using a simple exercise around a number sequence. What you do is that you will just say out a sequence of numbers, 3 numbers to be exact, and then it's up for the participants to come up with other sequences until that they have guessed what the rule behind the sequences is. And you can see some quite interesting behavior in how they do this. And the only thing you will say when they say a sequence is, does it live up to the rule or does it not live up to the rule? You will not give any hints, you will just let them figure it out. What you do is give them a starting sequence. So 2, 4, 8. That lives up to the sequence. Up to the rule. And then people will take turns saying a sequence and figuring out, does this live up to it or not? For instance, 1, 3, 9. Does that live up to the rule? Yes. What about 20, 40, 80? Does that live up to the rule? Yes. So we continue to do this, and people will probably continue to make sequences that lives up to the rule instead of trying to make a sequence that does not, that actually breaks the rule, trying to figure out where is the boundary. And when people continue to do these sequences that live up to the rule, I'll get back to what the rule is in a second, that is an example of confirmation bias. Instead, we should try to say, what about 1, 1, 1? Does that live up to the rule? No. What about 1, 1, 2? Does that live up to the rule? No. What about 1, 2, 3? Does that live up to the rule? Yes. What about 4, 5, 6? Does that live up to the rule? Yes. What about 4, 5, 5? No. So some of you might have guessed already that the rule is that the following number needs to be greater than its predecessor. So for instance, 1, 2, 3, 2 is bigger than 1, 3 is bigger than 2, or 1 million, 1 billion, that also lives up to the rule. And then we can talk about how can we do this. Did anybody fall for this confirmation bias, or was everybody completely unbiased and able to see through it? So that's a quite nice way of talking about confirmation bias and show it to the participants, and it takes 5-10 minutes at most to run this exercise. I'm hoping that some of you have similar exercises that you will that you would like to share, that would be awesome. And how are you tackling this confirmation bias when you do workshops or when you enter to work with a new team? And please put that in a comment or in a message. That would be awesome, because as always, comments, questions, ideas and feedback to these videos are more than welcome. Have a super, super awesome day.